first off, thank you all so much for joining us today. We have a nice, quick half-hour webinar here on why every pension plan needs CertiCensus, hosted by the Berwyn Group. My name is Jack Hartwig, Marketing Manager at the Berwyn Group. Meet your host today, Jeff Anderson, our Sales Manager here at the Berwyn Group. We're going to dive into really, CertiCensus and how it came to be with the growing needs of the market. We're going to show you the portal, some reports that you get out of it, as well as what CertiCensus does in general. And to top it all off, we will be sharing some client testimonials and some real impact stories that CertiCensus has had throughout the industry. So without further ado, Jeff, I'll pass things over to you.
Thanks, Jack. Hope everybody's having a great day. So as Jack mentioned, we're going to jump into industry challenges and how CertiCensus really came to be about. Deep dive into the solution and show you some details of what we do today and how we do it, and hopefully answer some questions for you along the way. So appreciate everybody's time. We're going to start off with a graphic that some of you may have seen before, but the reason we want to start off with this and show it to you is we do get a frequently asked question around why the Social Security Administration Death Master File has declined in value of what it provides in the way that it has. And the short story is in 2010, there was legislation that was passed that created basically privacy issues and there created a conflict states' rights over the Social Security Administration Death Master File data. So that decline in value, as you can see from the graphic as the dark line drops down, became very prominent in 2011 and 2012. As we moved into that range of 2012 to 2016 or so, a lot of the vendors out there, such as ourselves, realized there was a challenge here, and that's where obituary data really started to become a more common occurrence or a way to gather information on death data and identify deaths and fill in the gap that was created from the decline in the Social Security Administration Death Master File. So as you also saw on that graphic, the decline has continued. So it's at a pretty low number at this point. So you can see on the pie chart on the left here, with our CertiDeath death audit solution, which is encompassed within the CertiCensus solution that we're talking about today. The Death Master File is currently providing approximately 16% of the total death matches that we identify on a nationwide basis. Now, we also include state records, so we have a number of states where we get their data directly. But the real story here on the big picture is obituary data has become the primary data source to be able to identify potential deaths timely and comprehensively to fill in that gap. The challenge with obituary data, and just from a definition standpoint, when we talk about obituaries, we're also referring to funeral home notices, tributes, and those are really the big categories, but other various methods of online data that may appear that would have information in it that may flag a potential death match. The challenge with obituary data is there are no editorial standards, and naming conventions may not be the same on your file as they are in an obituary, a tribute, a funeral home notice. Many people use middle names. Names can change. Oftentimes nicknames are used as well. And as I mentioned, names can change through marriage, divorce, and for other reasons. So another challenge is obituary locations are not always clear. So advanced technology and improved algorithms over time with us doing this for a very long period with our death audit solution have enabled us to get tighter with that data and to overcome those data integrity challenges. So that's really a technological aspect for matching the data that can really present a challenge when you're not using a solution like we offer. Obviously, dates of birth sometimes are missing from the potential death matches in an obituary. They may also, we often see data integrity challenges on client files where clerical errors do occur with dates of birth. That can occur on either side of the equation, whether it's in the obituary, whether it's accurate or not, or on the client file itself. So when you start to combine some of these challenges, names, locations, other data points like dates of birth, it can get really challenging to identify deaths accurately and to make that match. Now, combined with that, you may have multiple obituaries, right? There might be an obituary, a funeral home notice, and a tribute offering either similar or conflicting data points. Another challenge is some of this information does not live online for an extended period. And so that is a place where we have worked very hard to ensure that we're overcoming these data integrity challenges with the solutions that we offer. Now, you all have a very hard job as a pension administrator or someone that's dealing with the data and trying to make all of this work, and it goes beyond death audit. In 2021, we had the Department of Labor issue lost and missing participant guidance that created a lot of questions. They followed up later that year with cybersecurity guidance, which the headline there was, try not to spread your data out among various vendors, consolidate where you can. And then we ran into, in more recent time, a lot of questions and challenges with the Secure 2.0 Act. So I'm not going to deep dive into those today, but they've created population management challenges that each and every one of you are likely dealing with in some way, shape, or form. And that's where the CertiCensus solution that we currently offer really stemmed from the accumulation of these challenges and clients that were already working with us in some capacity, asking us, how can we solve all of this in a single, proactive, end-to-end solution that's going to take the tasks off of their plate and put them in a place where not only the tasks are being accomplished, but the reporting and compliance aspect, the transparency and visibility is where it needs to be. And so that's where on the next slide here, Jack, with the CertiCensus solution, we are taking all of these challenging aspects and putting them into a single solution where you have visibility and transparency to see the actions that are taking, the status of those actions, and when those are happening. It puts you in a position to know that you have a comprehensive death audit. You have action that's being taken in a proactive manner to not only identify any existing lost or missing participants you may have on your file today, but to stay in front of those challenges in the future. We've also included some participant communication aspects here, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, as well as beneficiary research, which beneficiary research, depending on your view and where you're at in the process, can fall into that lost and missing participant conversation as well. And then at the end of the day, as I've mentioned, the access to 24/7 access to be able to see what is going on within the data of your plan at any given point in time. The CertiCensus solution does give you visibility into that as well. So some of the results, we're going to kind of put the cart before the horse here a little bit, and we've had the solution in place for a couple of years now. We have roughly 150 clients that are very happy with the results that they're getting, that are in a place where they're seeing over 96.5% of decedents being identified timely, accurately. That comes in a weekly report that they're receiving. We do know from bringing in files that on average, 33% of participant addresses have an incorrect address. That's on file intake. Obviously, once they're in the CertiCensus program and we start to clean up that data, that improves dramatically over time. But addresses are something that they're changing on a regular basis. People are moving, and it's become even more complicated in recent time as far as addresses are concerned, because this used to be an issue that was more focused on your terminated vested or vested but deferred population, where they're not thinking about you necessarily today, and they in the past and in the future today are not necessarily updating you when they move every time, and that's a common issue that we hear. Your in-pay population is one that in years past, because they were getting a paper check, they would often reach out and make the change to their address. One of the challenges we've heard over time and time again now from clients is that that doesn't happen as frequently in recent years, as most people that are in pay are now on direct deposit or electronic deposit. So they're going to get their money whether they call you and provide that address update or not. Beneficiaries and confirmed addresses, you can see some statistics here on the screen as well. The beneficiary research reports that we provide within CertiCensus does deliver a high level of information for either validating the beneficiary that you already have on file or identifying a beneficiary where one is in need. And the confirmed addresses, on average, we are looking at 83% of the participants that we're reaching out to are confirming their information back to us to be able to ensure that you've got a participant confirmed address in your file at any given moment. So Jack, let's go to the next slide here and talk through what the CertiCensus process looks like. So one thing that we've done here is it's a very simple file submission through a secure portal. You're going to give us a single file that has, in most cases, people will submit both their in-pay and their term vested population to us to be able to monitor that file with the various processes that we're going to apply. Step one, as soon as we receive your file, we move that into our death audit monitoring process, where we're doing work on a daily basis to look at the potential obituary matches, to conduct a process of data validation, where we have a human expert that is going to be looking at the data on your file, looking at the potential obituary match, and then using a proprietary tool to ensure, basically to triangulate the data and make sure that it lines up. And that helps us overcome those naming challenges, dates of birth, addresses, things like that that may not line up exactly. We've got a human review process to put you in an accurate place with that death audit report that you would receive on a weekly basis. The next step is any death that we're identifying through the CertiDeath death audit process would then move to our beneficiary research process. This is a human curated report where we're analyzing data focused on the participant that has passed away and focusing on the spouse. That could be current spouse, it could be former spouse. And that's where I say validation of the beneficiary is a step in the process that that most of our clients sort of think past, and they think about beneficiary research as only trying to identify a beneficiary. But this is a great tool to be used for both. The beneficiary research reports, as we'll see a little bit later here, are very comprehensive, and they include not only name and whether the person is alive or not, but also other important details for outreach, such as address and phone number. The next step in the process is going to take place on a quarterly basis. So 4 times a year, we're going to bump up all of the addresses on your file against the addresses that we see as the best known address. Now, we use multiple commercial data aggregators. One of the benefits of using our solution is we're bringing in a lot of resources and a very refined process to determine what the best available address is for any person at any given time. Anytime there's conflicting information between the 2 addresses, we're then going to move that participant into a locate process. That locate process is following the Department of Labor guidelines for outreach. We're sending out letters, we're making phone calls, we're also doing social media searching. And the goal here is to provide a participant confirmed updated address. The secondary goal is you're going to receive a participant-specific audit trail for every step that we've taken on every person in your file. And that's especially important here with the locate process for lost or missing participants. Final step in the process here is we will conduct your annual funding notice for you. So we will mail out your annual funding notice against your file. It's a very simple process. You provide your actuarial package to us. We print stuff, mail, postage is included with the CertiCensus program. So as postage rates rise, you don't see any changes on your contracting prices. But the annual funding notice will be mailed out to your participants. The return mail actually comes back directly to us. So that never sits on your desk as a liability or as a project waiting to happen. The return mail goes into the same locate process, again, following the DOL guidance with the letters, phone calls, social media searching, and giving you a participant-specific audit trail that is date and time stamped. So Jack, on the next slide here, we have a lot of clients say, okay, this is great. I understand what you're solving, what you're doing. What does it look like? This is the dashboard. When you log into your CertiCensus platform, you get an overview of the high-level view of the processes that are taking place. Now, this is an interactive dashboard, so you have the ability to click into areas and get some additional reporting, and we'll see some more details on that in just a moment. But this does give you a high-level overview of the actions that are in place at any given point in time. Reports. So we include a number of standard reports with the CertiCensus solution. You can go in, pick a report, pick a population pool, have a couple of different options as far as the outputs of those reports. You may be looking at a specific group of people that have taken an action, or you may be looking for a participant-specific report. And we have some more details here for you on the following slides on those reports as well. You do have the ability to run custom reports. You also have access to a dedicated client management person or account specialist that at any point in time, if you have questions about running any custom reports for a desired goal that you have, you can reach out to them, and whether it's scheduling time or just on the fly for them to be able to help you. Access to your dedicated client manager comes at no additional cost. There is no additional cost beyond your contracting costs for either client management help or for technical help. This is an example, an overview of some of the sample reports that we have together. These are sort of in the workflow of an Excel file. You can see the tabs at the bottom showing you the overview report, and then the details of confirmed statuses, the location services that are in progress, the deceased report, your benesearch report, beneficiary research report, and then your required mailing report. On the next slide, you're going to see a PDF output that would be a participant-specific report. And this is a view of someone that would be in the living status. So typically, this is something that you'd be looking at for address history, work that's been done. Did we change an address in your CertiCensus portal? Did you make a change to address in the CertiCensus portal, or other participant details? You can see all of that not only in the portal, but you can output this PDF report at any given time. We also have reports for decedents. So the decedent report, again, provides participant details, validation information. It also includes a quick snapshot of relative information, which is a little bit different than what you'll see on the next slide, is our more comprehensive benesearch report. Now, the benesearch report, as I mentioned before, focuses on your spouse or the participant's spouse, but it may also show any records of divorce. So the person that may have been listed as a beneficiary, they may no longer be married, you would see that in the benesearch report. It is going to be a comprehensive report. It's got a very high number of potentials that we would list in here of spouse information, as well as focus on all first-degree relatives, names, ages, dates of death, if there is one, address information, and phone information. Now, while it's comprehensive, you can see that it's a very concise report and easy to use and take action against as well. Great, Jack. Next slide. So these are some of the components that we've already talked through of CertiCensus, and this is actual client feedback that we've gotten from our client management team working with CertiCensus clients and understanding, asking them, what are the things that come to mind with CertiCensus that you deeply care about? So you can see that the idea of death audit combined with the location services, providing a synergy here actually can potentially give you a better death audit result. The reason for that is not only are we doing the CertiDeath death audit exercise, which is a data exercise, but because we're reaching out to conflicting addresses and mailing letters, making phone calls, the interaction with that participant pool for some clients has yielded additional death results where someone simply calls back and says, you're not going to hear back from Jeff Anderson about his change of address because he's passed away. So we're able to share that information back with our clients in those instances as well. Obviously, there's a lot of comprehensive reporting here that we've gone through. The beneficiary search is something that a lot of our clients on the front end of the process don't see beneficiary validation or research as one of their biggest challenges. And oftentimes, once they're in the program, they start to realize some of the holes or some of the time that was being taken in their process before that they didn't really appreciate what a comprehensive report really helped them do and to move forward quickly and confidently with the next step in the process. The obituary information, the highly accurate location services reports. We've got some statistics here that you can see that really help provide confidence that you know you have a comprehensive and accurate solution that's in place today. So we do have a scenario here of a client that within the first 3 months of using the CertiCensus program, they were able to find, or we were able to find for them, 57% of the missing participants that they had in their file. Now, we also know that more than 2% of those missing participants were actually identified not in the location services portion of what we were doing, but actually in the death audit. And it's not unusual for us to have a client or a prospective client come to us and say, hey, I'm already doing death audit today. I'm interested. They learn about the program. They come into the program and their challenge is lost or missing participants. And they're very focused on finding new addresses or getting that participant conversation, making the contact with the participant. Oftentimes, we find that there are people that are not alive in that process because they have not had a comprehensive death audit. They're not using the CertiDeath solution today or the CertiCensus solution. We do find a number of deceased individuals that are sort of caught up in the lost or missing participant cycle, and they really shouldn't be. They really needed that death audit on the front end. So the level of confidence that we're providing here as well with the CertiCensus solution, not only with the steps we're taking, with the documentation we're providing, by following the guidelines of the Department of Labor, it's a great impact on our clients. It underlines the importance of having a complete and thorough death audit and locate solution and process that is not only a set of tools that's working together, it's really changing your position from reactively conducting projects based on, let's say, I've gotten return mail. I need to do a return mail project to find addresses. This is very different because we're getting in front of that in a proactive manner by checking addresses, by conducting the proactive CertiDeath death audit. Well, this really puts you in the best possible position, and you can see here from some impact statements that we have from some of our clients, ranging from very simple, I love that I get a copy of the obituary, very simple process. We include the source documentation with our death audit, the beneficiary research and how comprehensive that report is. Overall, we get great feedback on how clean and concise the interface is but then the ability to conduct a deep dive and get the reports that you need, whether it's a standard report or a customized report. So you can see here, there are several statements from some of our clients where they're feeling much better about where they're at and putting themselves really in the best position to be as prepared for a potential audit as they could be, removing stress from having to scramble when you may get that letter in the mail that indicates that your audit time is coming up. So, all right, Jack, is that our last slide? I think we had some questions maybe pop in, and I know that we had at least one come up before the webinar.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you, Jeff, for walking us all through that. Great information there. One question, and I assume we have quite a few existing clients on this webinar here. A question that came up actually quite a bit on the pre-registration was, what is the difference between CertiDef and CertiCensus?
Yeah, so great question. So CertiDef is encompassed within CertiCensus. Okay, so if you have CertiDef today and you're looking to expand and have a potentially better DEF audit, have services in place that address lost or missing participants, beneficiary research, and potentially mail in your annual funding notice for you and handling the return mail, then that's the right conversation to have with our team and to understand more about CertiCensus. CertiDef is part of the CertiCensus component. That is the DEF audit mechanism that we're using within CertiCensus.
Great. That is awesome. And let me just see if there's any other questions that came in here. I know we're just about at time, so we may actually wrap things up right here just to be respectful of everyone's days. But if you do have any additional questions that come up, feel free to shoot us over an email at vera@berwingroup.com or simply drop your question in the post-webinar survey, and we'll follow up with you on that. But just wanted to thank you, Jeff, for walking us through CertiCensus, and thank you everyone for attending our quick 30-minute webinar here today, and we'll look forward to seeing you all in the next one.